Picture this. It's November of 2018. I'm at the Mohegan Sun Casino and Resort. Don't ask why. I'm stepping onto the escalator, descending into the food court, and I see this. Having never seen this ad before, I was immediately triggered and outraged, so I did what any triggered and outraged person would do, and I took to social media. I posted these Instagram stories about why I found the ad to be problematic and offensive, and my frustration with this campaign hasn't waned since. As you obviously know by now, in this video I'm going to be delving into Chick-fil-A's iconic cow ad campaign and discussing why I find it particularly horrific and offensive. I'm going to talk about my 3 main issues with the campaign, but first I want to have a little history lesson. Let's talk about the origins of the iconic cow campaign. And the reason I keep saying iconic in quotes is that pretty much every article written about this campaign describes the cows as iconic. So while I don't personally recall having seen any of these ads before 2018, I think just because there weren't really any Chick-fil-A's near where I lived, this campaign actually started in 1995. So here is what former Chick-fil-A Chief Marketing Officer Steve Robinson said about the first time he saw the ad concept.
I flipped over the final layout and laughed when I saw 2 cows, one sitting on top of the other, painting a board in their scrawl, "Eat more chicken." People down the hall could hear me laughing at the sight of the first soon-to-be famous advertising campaign. With the success of the billboard concept, our marketing team decided to leverage the Eat More Chicken cow idea and develop an entire campaign around it. The Eat More Chicken cows were officially solidified into our corporate identity.
According to the Chicken Wire, which is apparently Chick-fil-A's official blog, I guess, the first cow billboard was erected in 1995. As you can see, this was followed by a busy couple of decades for the campaign, during which I was apparently living in a hole, with the cows making appearances on TV, radio, as plush toys, on cars, even in a cow blender. Get it? And of course, with a plethora of different billboards and ad displays, including this pretty horrifying one in which a distressed cow hangs from a water tower after failing to finish painting his message while his distressed cow friend struggles to hold his weight up. But back in 2019, Chick-fil-A actually ended their 22-year partnership with the ad agency responsible for creating the campaign, the Richards Group. There's not much to know about the Richards Group other than that it's considered the largest independent ad agency in the country. They have worked with a ton of huge brands. In 2020, founder of the Richards Group, Stan Richards, said some racist shit. So then a bunch of the brands left the company, and Stan himself eventually resigned from the company. But Chick-fil-A left in 2019 before all this drama. So the founder of the Richards Group, Stan Richards, said that he was, quote, shocked to lose Chick-fil-A and called it, quote, the saddest occurrence of his long career. So why did Chick-fil-A move on from the agency that created this insanely popular campaign that arguably really put them on the map as a fast food chain? Was it maybe because they'd come to their senses and realized this campaign was cruel and kind of outdated and bizarre? No, it wasn't because of that. It was because they realized that the brand was bigger than just that and they wanted to move on to a cows plus marketing strategy. So it's not that they wanted to discontinue the cows despite what some articles written at the time implied, it's just that they wanted the cows to be part of their marketing strategy, but not the entire strategy. In fact, the brand has very much not moved away from the cows. I saw a billboard just a couple months ago, and as you can see on their official website, they have this New Year's resolution take on the ad to promote the fact that they will indeed be open on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So what's the big deal? What's the big issue with these ads anyway? Well, if you're asking me, here are my 3 main issues with the cows campaign. My first issue is that the campaign portrays the cows as being stupid, which is a big misconception that a lot of people have about farm animals. Misspelled words are one of the hallmarks of the campaign. In every single ad, the cow is either holding or painting a sign that has misspelled words on it. So apparently the cows are clever enough to organize themselves to campaign against being eaten, just not smart enough to correctly spell words like more and chicken. Got it. Not that an animal's level of intelligence should matter when it comes to whether or not they should be scared, tortured, murdered. This quote comes to mind. But I think many people lean on that perception of farm animals to justify eating them. Most people have no idea, for example, that pigs are smarter than dogs, and I think when people find that out, it usually gives them a moment of pause, even if it's just a moment. But still, you might be wondering, well, are cows intelligent? This article in Psychology Today covers the essay The Psychology of Cows, published in the Journal of Animal Behavior and Cognition by neuroscientists Lori Marino and Kristen Allen. The writers of the essay make the great point that most research done on farm animals is done in regard to their use as food animals, and so these studies naturally wouldn't focus on an animal's level of intelligence or sentience. So the perception of farm animals lacking intelligence likely stems not from their lack of intelligence, but rather from the historic lack of research showing us anything to the contrary. According to the research outlined in the essay, cows display the ability to rapidly learn different tasks, display long-term memory, extrapolate the location of a hidden moving object, discriminate complex stimuli, and discriminate humans from one another. Cows also display complex spatial memory and are able to discriminate among individual cows and recognize cow faces as different from the faces of other species. There's also a lot of compelling research on their emotions, personalities, and social complexity, but as we're specifically discussing intelligence here, I'm not going to delve into those, but I encourage you to if you're interested. Needless to say, cows possess a much higher level of intelligence than most people realize, and while I think it would be ridiculous to speculate on whether or not they would be able to spell human words correctly, it's equally ridiculous, in my opinion, to project a lack of intelligence onto them. For the record, similar studies have been done with chickens, which showed us that chickens have communication skills on par with those of some primates. They use sophisticated signals to convey their intentions. When making decisions, they will take into account their own prior experience and knowledge surrounding the situation. They can also solve complex problems and empathize with individuals that are in danger. Chickens also pass down knowledge from generation to generation and can recognize over 100 individual faces, not only of their fellow chickens, but of humans. They also understand that recently hidden objects still exist, something beyond the capability of a 2-year-old human child. Chickens are the farm animal that I think most people consider the least intelligent and therefore okay to eat, but clearly these people are misinformed. My second issue with the ad campaign is the exploitation of the cows. Completely in line with the entire animal agriculture business, these ads exploit farm animals. In this case, they exploit chickens and cows by utilizing representations of cows to sell dead chickens. A lot of people will say that vegans anthropomorphize farm animals and therefore that our defense of them doesn't really hold much weight. Vegans have also been criticized for saying that animals deserve the same rights as humans, or for comparing animal suffering to various forms of human suffering. And while I do feel that certain instances of human suffering should not be used to bolster our defense of animals, I do think there are many important similarities that humans share with animals, and I think comparing things like our capacity to feel things like love, fear, and pain are completely appropriate comparisons. Meanwhile, while vegans are getting criticized for anthropomorphizing animals to defend them, Chick-fil-A is over here anthropomorphizing them to exploit them. While I was researching, I found this article in the Ithacan by Carly Plasek. Not sure if I'm saying her name right, but this quote really sums up my feelings very well. Walk into any grocery store and you'll see quirky tuna fish in glasses and hats, or laughing cows on food labeling. As if exploiting animals through systemic slaughter, harvesting, and production wasn't bad enough, somehow advertising teams can't come up with ways to market food without cutesy images of animals enjoying their death. So clever. Not to mention the Chick-fil-A ads also assign negative human characteristics to the cows, who are displayed as manipulative and self-serving. And while I can't say for sure that a cow would never want to manipulate a human into killing another animal, it's unlikely, considering that we know farm animals to be gentle, loving, and intensely protective over one another. A lot of people believe that animals don't have egos or senses of self in the same way that humans do, and therefore wouldn't be capable of scheming in the same way that humans can. Essentially, the humans responsible for this campaign projected their own human instincts onto the cows. Stan Richards of the Richards Group said in a statement when the partnership ended, "The cows are core to the brand's success, and certainly we are very protective of them. We think we know them pretty well, having given birth to and nurtured their unique personalities for more than 2 decades. We hope the cows live on and continue to thrive with a new family. There's so many things that I could say about this quote, but while Stan claims to have given birth to and nurtured the cows as if they're part of his own human family, it's clear to me that Stan loves the fictitious cows, not for their positive attributes or their uniqueness, but rather as a concept that made him a lot of money. My third issue with the campaign, which was my first reaction upon seeing the ad for the first time, is the cognitive dissonance. These ads are essentially acknowledging that cows don't want to die while making it a joke about chickens dying. I'm aware that these ads are supposed to be funny. I'm sure many people do find them funny. Personally, I have a really hard time finding an ounce of humor in depictions of cows so desperate not to die, they're hanging off the sides of a building. And let me just say, contrary to popular belief, vegans do have senses of humor. Look no further than the multitude of vegan meme Instagram accounts, which is mostly memes of us making fun of ourselves. I'll be the first one to laugh at a joke regarding veganism or really anything, as long as it's funny. But jokes that are at the expense of someone else, human or animal, usually aren't funny to me. Because essentially with these ads, we were laughing at the cow's desperation to live. And it's all made much more sinister with the knowledge that, spoiler alert, they won't live. Most cows in the world are killed for beef, or in the case of these cows, which are Holstein cows, they're exploited for dairy, which causes them a lot of pain and suffering and will cause a premature death one way or another. Would this be a good time to point out the fact that these ads really don't even make sense because they're using Holstein cows, which are dairy cows, and not beef cows? Anyway, in a post on Chicken Wire, the writer claims the cows have, quote, inspired thousands of Americans to head to their local Chick-fil-A restaurants every day, clad as the famous cows, to celebrate what is now Cow Appreciation Day. So yeah, you heard that right. Chick-fil-A created an annual Cow Appreciation Day, which is on July 14th. Although this sounds like some type of animal rights adjacent day, it's really just another marketing gimmick to get people to flock, no pun intended, to the restaurants and spend money. Like, am I to believe that everyone behind this campaign, all the executives at the ad agency and Chick-fil-A and everyone that participates in Cow Appreciation Day, am I to believe that all of these people don't eat beef? Highly unlikely. The message of Cow Appreciation Day is less thank you for sparing the cows' lives, and more, thank you for spending money on chicken instead of beef. A fake animal rights day created by a fast food chain that serves factory farmed chicken. Unfortunately, this ad campaign, while particularly offensive in my opinion, isn't really an aberration from the norm. Animals have long been exploited in media in a number of different ways, and advertising is no exception. Of course, it's never about the animals being safe or protected, it's using them as a prop to demonstrate something in order to sell something. And usually, as with the Chick-fil-A campaign, it's supposed to be funny. More than anything, as the author whose quote I read earlier stated, it's lazy, it's tired, and it's severely lacking in creativity. Needless to say, this type of marketing will always miss the mark with me. Thanks for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. If you want to see more content from me, subscribe to my channel. Don't eat at Chick-fil-A, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.